not so warm welcome of Koh Samui, which has nothing to do with the island, just the fact that I suck at everything. It's a long story, but basically I'm messing up SIM cards and now I have been blocked from my credit card app for 60 minutes, so I can't order a taxi and I can't book my hostel, and I'm stuck in this place because my phone nearly died and I need to charge it, and these people are just wondering how I can take literally an hour and a half on one boba tea. So that's my state. On a positive note, my voice is back. I finally stopped coughing the whole time and my voice is gone again. Yeah, what do you expect if you party until 3 a.m. in the morning? It doesn't really help the situation. Okay, right now I'm in a van. The driver's just picking someone else up. Going to Koh Phangan, which is where the full moon party is hosted. We're not actually staying in Koh Phangan. Someone told me that it's probably nicer to stay in Koh Samui and then just get the ferry up and down in the evening and in the morning. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just today I was planning to either hike up to a viewpoint or hike to Bo Put, which is another area. Hike, just walk. It's not really a hike. It's just road. That didn't end up happening because this happened. So yeah, needless to say, I didn't move for 3 hours, which was worth it because first of all, I got a friend, a cat, so that's obviously worth it. But also, secondly, I slept well. Finally, I'm actually feeling really. I'm not feeling tired for a change. So obviously, the right way to celebrate that is party all night. But yeah, this is my third day in Koh Samui. I arrived the day before yesterday, which wasn't too great of a day because I arrived at 11:15 in the morning and I actually arrived at my hostel at 4:30, meaning I had just like 5 hours of sitting around and it was a pain basically. Yesterday was the full moon party, which was really fun. I met these two Dutch people, a Dutch girl and a Dutch guy, on my way there, and we just hung around with each other the whole night, which was really fun. And yeah, I didn't make it too late. I took the ferry back at 3 a.m. I was back here at 4, so that's alright. I think that's also for the best. And as for actually, first off, look where I am. I mean, that's a view hard to beat. But yeah, as for today, I'm first gonna find a place to get some coffee. Because I am quite tired again, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow, because I'm going to leave tomorrow, either going to go to Koh Phangan, which is the island that hosted the full moon party as well, or I'm going to go to Koh Tao, which is an island just a bit further. But yeah, I haven't decided which one I'm going to go to, maybe even both, but first let's get some coffee. As you can see, it's right behind me. Welcome to Bo Put Fisherman's Village. As the name suggests, this used to be a fisherman's village. It then made place for tourism instead of it, and the fisherman has since left. And in the place of that became just this big tourist attraction, which is the village. It's really cute. There are little boutique shops and cafes and restaurants, and it's just a really nice, quaint little place. You can actually still see the remnants of, I can't coordinate this, there we go. That used to be the main pier. It has since collapsed since it hasn't been used in a while, obviously. But yeah, Today I first had a coffee, I then booked my ferry. I'm going to Koh Tao, not Koh Phangan. I either wanted to do both and then split the amount of days, or just do one of the two and then stay a bit longer in whatever respective island. I decided for Koh Tao over Koh Phangan because it's smaller, so I could easily walk everywhere. I can't ride a motorbike. By the way, that is something I recommend if you come to Koh Samui. Be able to ride a motorbike because that's way easier than getting a taxi or walking everywhere. And also in Mae Nam Beach, which is the beach that I'm right next door to, or that my hostel is right next door to, the sand in Mae Nam Beach is like this white sand, like you would expect from like tropical paradise. That kind of beach it's that kind of beach. Here, it's a lot more stony. So I wanted to like have this cool shot of me walking into the water, walking into the sea, like all paradise-like, and it ended up just looking like this. Alright, let's go now to Koh Tao. So the past two hostels had house cats, which were lovely by the way. This hostel has a slightly different animal. And Farka! Hey buddy. What I've realised is that when you're on an island, it is really easy and really tempting to do absolutely nothing. And that's what I did. I didn't really do anything. I just lounged at the beach, and when it would get too hot I would go back to my hostel, and then when I would be wanting to do things again I would go back to the beach and do that until it's evening and then go to bed. And that's pretty much what I did. And in that kind of sluggish state you also really don't feel motivated to film anything, so I didn't really film anything. So that's why I'm doing this, to kind of give context, because all the clips that I did film don't really form a logical narrative, so that's why I'm doing this. So the first day I arrived in Koh Tao, I think it was like maybe 12. I arrived there and I checked into my hostel, which was called Bed and Ink. It was a really nice hostel. They had a cool pig. They had a pig, which was awesome. And then after I had settled, I decided to walk to a restaurant or cafe that was about 20 minutes walk away, so that way you're going to get forced to see the island. I chose the wrong road up though. I chose to go along the main road because that was Google Maps' choice for the quickest. But yeah, despite almost turning into roadkill, I did see a bit of the island. I could see a nice view, and then I also walked past a temple, which was nice and unexpected, and I then had some food which was slightly spicy, and I then walked along the beach back, and that path that you take along the beach is called Sari Beach. That was basically the path that I would be taking pretty much the entire week. And yeah, that was pretty much day one. And then day two, I didn't really do much of anything again. I just lounged at the beach or lounged at my hostel, and then someone told me that there would be a pub crawl, and that's when you basically sign up with a group and you go along pubs or bars or clubs or whatever, and with maybe 30 people. And so I did. I signed up with a couple people from my hostel, and we started at this pub, and then we went to a pool party, which was a bit whack because nobody actually went into the pool. Only a couple people did, and then they went out again because they realised that they didn't really want their clothes to be wet. So that was a bit like, okay, we have a pool party and everyone's just standing around. And then we went to a cabaret show, which was pretty funny. That was quite hilarious. And then we went back to the pub, and then we went to another bar, and then another bar, and afterwards I went swimming at night in the sea, which was fun, despite the fact that I cut my feet all open on like the rocks in the ocean, because it was we stayed in shallow waters, and I like cut my feet up a couple times, and that was just a pain to be on a beach with cuts in your foot. That hurt a lot. It also wouldn't heal, but yeah. So that was pretty much day 2. So yeah, day 3 started out by me moving hostels, despite bedding being having a cool pig. I didn't really like the dormitory itself. You didn't really get much privacy, only a small curtain that would run across. So I decided to check out a different hostel called Oasis. It was a bit more expensive, was 400 baht a night, which is about, 12 euros a night. That was awesome. I had an amazing view. That's my view. And yeah, the rest of the day I enjoyed a smoothie, and that was pretty much it. Again, I didn't really do much that day. So then I thought, right, I need a plan, because I didn't come all of this way to just see the same stretch of beach. So for the next 2 days, day 4 and day 5 in Koh Tao, I made a planning. For day 4, I wanted to go snorkeling, and I wanted to go to a viewpoint. So I woke up in the morning, I rented a bike, and I also rented snorkeling gear, and I cycled up to the John Suwon viewpoint, or Suwon or something. It was named after the 2 guys that found it, so thank you, John. And yeah, it was pretty challenging. First of all, Koh Tao is made up of mountains or hills, and you just basically go like this or you go like that. So cycling, you're either braking or you're walking. So it was quite tough, but I made it to the viewpoint and went actually quicker than I thought. And then if the cycling wasn't enough, then had a hike, a pretty challenging hike as well. But the viewpoint made it so rewarding. The viewpoint was absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking. 35 degrees. That's what I climb up. And that's where I still have to go. I'm dying. Look at this. That's insane. And the rewarding part of all of this is that's where I'm heading next, to go snorkeling and cool off. And when I was up there was like this Israeli guy and this French guy that were talking, and those were the only guys that were up there, except for me. There was this German couple that went up, and they were like, alright, pose one picture, pose one picture, and then they left. They literally spent 5 minutes up on that rock, up in the viewpoint. The hike up there, mind you, is quite challenging, and they were in flip-flops, so I think like, you've just spent like 30 minutes walking up this mountain, and you're not even going to stay for more than 5 minutes to enjoy the view. You're just going to get that picture for Instagram and then leave. So, I mean, me and then the 2 other guys that were there were just kind of laughing at them. And then the other guys left, so I was there by myself at some point, which was really nice. And then I went back down, and I had the day before looked up what nice snorkeling beaches there were, and one of them was called Tano's Bay, supposed to be really good for snorkeling. So I decided to cycle there, and then I've decided to cycle, and let me just tell you what a terrible decision that was. Daar kom ik vandaan. Hier moet ik naartoe. And I didn't want to give up. I really didn't. But then I realised that if I go up this mountain right now, I would have to go back up the mountain when I go back. And I wasn't going to do that, so instead I went back down and decided to look up if there was a nice snorkeling beach that my hostel is close to. And there was. It was called Jansum Bay. The problem was, this beach was private. It wasn't open to the public, or it was, but you would have to pay to get in because it was part of the resort. So the stretch of beach that it was on was adjacent to a resort, like a bungalow resort, and then it was basically free to go to if you were in that resort, and if you weren't staying at that resort, you would have to pay like 300 baht. I just walked in, didn't pay, didn't hear anyone shouting at me, I got lost in the resort, so I don't think I took the main route to the beach. I kind of got lost between all the bungalows and then just tried to follow the sea, and I ended up at the beach and nobody told me different. So that was absolutely awesome. I was a bit worried that I would have to leave my bags and my stuff at the beach and then go snorkeling and then be panicking about people stealing my stuff, but this was a private beach and the only people that were there were a couple of resort staff members and a Swedish family, and I trusted the Swedish family, and I was able to swim by myself at this bay. I just can't get over this. So then after that I just went back, I watched sunset, and I went back to my hostel and slept, and then it was the next day. And on day 5, let me get my notes right, on day 5 started out with going on a climbing adventure. Now, I didn't pay for this climbing adventure, so how could I go to this climbing adventure? Well, at the pub crawl that I was at the second day in Koh Tao, they were at the cabaret show, they would do these little games, and the winner of each game would get a prize, like a free bikini or free shots, or like activities like an hour on a pedaling board or paddling board, or half a day at this adventure park. And that was kind of the main prize. It was the most expensive, and it was a dance competition. Now, I, by the way, didn't partake in any of this. I was happily being entertained by the sidelines and just laughing at the people that were up for it. And this girl won the dancing competition, and I didn't really take note. I was like clapping. And then at the end of the pub crawl, I was just sitting outside with these 2 other girls, a New Zealand girl and a girl from America. And at some point the girl from New Zealand just turns to me and says like, "Oh, are you going to stay in Koh Tao for another day?" And I said, "Yeah, probably a couple of days." And she said, "Oh, are you going to use this?" And she hands me the voucher for half a day at an adventure park. I was like, "I will now. Thanks, Kate." So thank you. Filming this again, by the way. Someone came into the room. They've now left. Filming this again. So for the adventure park thing, we were with like 2 guides and 4 people. And first we had to hike up to the place where we're going to go abseiling from. And the hike itself lended itself for a lot of viewpoints. So that was quite fun. You could see quite a great view over the whole island, basically. And then we went abseiling. We were on a place called Fraggle Rock, and we were on top of the rock and you could see everything. And we basically hooked ourselves in and then just like, you abseil down. That's basically what we did. And we did that like 3 times in like the boiling heat. And then he said, "Oh, we're gonna go rock climbing next." So we were like, oh, it's so warm. But luckily the rock itself was like in the shade, so we went rock climbing in the shade, which was fun. There were like 3 routes. There was an easy, immediate and a hard route. Everyone did all 3, so that was really fun. It was actually really tough, and rock climbing on an actual rock is a lot different than in the gym. So yeah, that was really fun. And then after that we had lunch and went down, and that was pretty much it. And that was the whole morning. And the road itself was insane. Like the path to this like Fraggle Rock, or to this viewpoint basically, is like terrible road. It's not paved. It's just like you go down hills like that. It was just quite entertaining being in the back of a pickup truck, like holding on for dear life, hoping that the driver doesn't like go over the steering wheel, because you'll just go flying down. And yeah, after that I texted a friend of mine that I made at the hostel to go to an island called Koh Nang Yuan, or Koh Nan Yuan, and basically you go there by taxi boat. It's like a 10-minute taxi boat trip, and then you've got this island. Basically it's tiny, and you've got a stretch of beach there that's apparently really good for snorkeling, and then you've also got a hike to a viewpoint. So that's what we wanted to do. It gets really touristy, so but the island itself closes at 5, so we decided to go at around 3 o'clock, so therefore we don't really get within those masses of tourists, which worked out pretty well. The only thing was that I was on one end of the beach, and the two girls that I was meeting up, were on the other end of the beach, so we both had to individually get a taxi boat and then meet up at the island itself. I mean, that was fine. It just cost a little more. So then we were on the island. We first hiked up, it were like stairs. It was actually really easy. I expected it to be like a challenging hike like I've had before. It was actually fine. You could just walk up the stairs and suddenly you're like at the most beautiful viewpoint you've ever seen. It's yeah, that was absolutely breathtaking and just absolutely gorgeous and insane. I'll show you clips after this. And after that we went back down and just went snorkeling for a bit, which was really sick as well. You could see, like, as soon as you enter the water, it's like you enter a completely new world. You see fishes everywhere, like tiny as this and as big as that. I also saw a little shark. I thought that would like actually scare me, but it was tiny. It was like a shark, a shark around like that big, and it was just like swimming along. It's like, oh wow, I just saw a shark, which is quite funny. Yeah, okay. Cheers. And then yeah, at 5 o'clock we took the taxi boat back, then watched the sunset on the beach, and then slept. And that was my time in Koh Nan Yuan. That was my time in Koh Tao. And the next morning I took the ferry to the mainland, and then took a bus up to Chiang Mai.